Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Morning, everybody. I hope everybody had a fabulous weekend. We have a lot to cover today. Yes, there's more to cover, but I didn't want this video to be too long, so I'll be pushing some information back to my Tuesday's video, okay? Oh, this is going to be good. Jump on, hold on, let's get in there. Let's go. We're starting off this morning with Prince Andrew. He has been banned again from the Order of the Garter Day procession that takes place at Windsor Castle. Now remember, last year he wanted to do it, and Charles and William stepped in and basically told the Queen, if he's going, we're not. Something along those lines. So since Andrew stepped down from royal duties in 2019 and, was stripped of his titles, so they booted him from the event at the last minute last time, all right? Now we know that the palace is basically doubling down on its, the way it's trying to limit Andrew's public appearances. He's in the background, but he was in the background before Charles took over, but now he's still in the background. So last year, he went to the private events from the Order of the Garter, like there was a luncheon, he went to those, but he didn't do the public events. So this year they're saying that it was a family decision, and they're saying that Andrew will attend the investiture, he'll go to the lunch, but he will not be part of the procession or the service just like last year. I think that's a good compromise, because he's still in there. So he's doing the private stuff. He's just not doing the public stuff. I think that's perfectly acceptable. Now, for those of you who are unaware, he was allowed to wear his ceremonial robes during King Charles's coronation. So apparently he had hopes that he would be allowed to wear his robes and be part of the procession, which he wasn't allowed to do last year. A lot of people were a little shocked to see him in his robes during the coronation because he's not a working member of the family. But he really is pushing to come back, but it's just not going to happen. And then people were shocked when he walked to church in December. Well, he was going to church. You can't not allow church. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's move on. All right, we're going to move on now to the Duke of Edinburgh, Edward. He went on Friday and watched Ukrainian soldiers doing training as part of the multinational UK-led Operation Interflex. He interacted with them. He met the trainees. He met the instructors. And he got a better understanding of, their experiences, what they've been through. All right, moving on. Next up, we have Sophie, Edward's wife, the Duchess, and she went to the Royal Windsor Rose and Horticulture Society. She met Alan Titchmarsh. He is the honorary president at the club show in Great Windsor Park. Remember, he met up with Camilla the other day when she went to look at those, floral things. She spoke with visitors and staff members. She looked at the flowers that were on display. Now, this charity was founded in 1892 by Queen Victoria. Isn't that nice? A big thank you to Remoulade Sauce, as usual, for this information. The dress that she was wearing was by a company called Etro, E-T-R-O. It's silk. It has short sleeves. Very nice dress, very summery. I really liked it. And it wasn't that expensive either. It's $2,554. The purse was $143. The shoes were $190. Not very expensive at all. And you can get the same dress by a company called ASOS, A-S-O-S, for $66. Yep. So if you want to look like Sophie, that is absolutely possible. Now, while she was there and looking at all the flowers and walking around, she, of course, was talking about the Shooting Star Hospice. Now, They updated their name. Initially, they were known as the Shooting Star Chase, but there were two hospice charities that merged, and so they updated their name. And of course, they brought some of the children there to look after, to look at some of the flowers and, look at all the stuff that was going on. She said some nice words about the hospice. She said, quote, "The care and love you show to every single child who comes through the door is immeasurable. You and their family, when they're here, you're their family when they're here. The parents trust you completely with their child, and no price can be put on that. And to all of the people who are helping to fund this amazing organization, thank you. It's a very special place, and I know that very many families couldn't survive without Shooting Star Hospice." Very nice words from Sophie. Anyway, it looked like everybody had a great time there. Moving on. We have William, the Prince of Wales. We know he's Colonel of the Welsh Guards. They had the Colonel's Review at the Horse Guards Parade. Basically, this is the rehearsal for Trooping the Color, which we know is for Charles's birthday. So, this is just a rehearsal to make sure everybody's ready for the actual parade. But William led the parade down the mall. He wore the Guard of Honor Order, complete with a bearskin cap, tunic, garter sash, and sword. Now, there was some fainting going on. Apparently, it was very, very warm. This guy, I have to tell you, this guy actually got applause because he fainted. So everybody else kept playing. He struggled to his feet. He started to play again. Look in the background. Somebody else had fainted. You see that? And they're carrying him off. But this guy got up, started to faint again. He was a little unsteady. His friends reached out to help steady him. And they ran up with a stretcher. And what did this guy do? He refused to get on the stretcher. He was going to walk. You go, dude. And he walked right off with everybody else. Good for him. He stayed on his feet. Could you imagine? It must have been so hot there. All right, moving on. Sticking with Prince William, apparently we know how he feels about homelessness. We've seen all the stuff he's done for them. Apparently there's another project around his 41st birthday that's going to be coming out, and he's speaking to the politicians about the issue. We know that he went to shelters with his mother. We know he's been looking into using the Duchy of Cornwall properties to house those that are living on the streets, and he held his first annual audience with the leaders of the opposition, Keir Starmer, I hope I'm saying that right, to discuss the issue. Good for him. Next up, there's a charity called Future Talent, and they were at St. James Palace having a gala concert, and present was the Duke and Duchess of Kent. Now, the Duchess of Kent, who founded the charity, was given a portrait by one of the alumni there as a way of saying thank you. The portrait was to celebrate her 90th birthday last February. It was unveiled by Lady Helen Taylor. Very nice. Next up, 106 soldiers supported by a band of the Royal Regiment of Scotland had a parade through the town center. There were pipes and drums. I think that's nice. I love a man in a kilt. All right, next up, just as a point, the new baby has been added to the line of succession. There he is at the bottom. Good on for him. All right, moving on. Next up, you guys, you had a lot of comments about some of these stories, so we're going to cover those, okay? First of all, when it comes to Elton John and Harry, my writer, Carol, said that Elton John is a shady character. And another subscriber, Right on Betty, said that Harry's bitter he won't be king and Elton's bitter he won't be queen. And Mimi basically says the same thing. Elton John wants to be queen and Henry wants to be king. Good point. All right. When I pointed out the dog at the bike shop that they named Meghan Markle, my subscriber named Sarah said it was a missed opportunity to name the dog Meghan Barkle. Jeannie said, poor dog, cursed to go through life with that horrible name. And this person said, lady calls her dog Meghan Markle, and the rest of us just call her Meghan Markle a dog. My God. Next up, the bike shop. I showed you guys this letter where they used the title. Look how short this letter is. And they used the title Duke and Duchess of Sussex 3 times. The word Prince shows up 3 times. I mean, come on, guys. Yeah. So one of my subscribers had something to say about this letter. I bet she's a teacher. No letter in form where it came from, half in margins. No one with any class leaves the closing of best. Incorrect spacing from the letterhead to the date to the salutation. Yeah, I completely agree with you. This letter is a mess. Now, a lot of you have said that it's just a marketing ploy. And I told you yesterday that, on Saturday, that it was a marketing ploy. And I completely agree. And let me tell you why. In response to all the negativity about them giving a very privileged child a bike, they're now having a bike giveaway. Go figure. Oh, we've been overjoyed to receive such sweet messages, blah, blah, blah. If you're an existing customer, you're already aware of our philanthropic commitment, and this is when we're going to do it, blah, blah, blah. However, that's not always the truth. As you can see from the Sussex squad, they have been receiving a lot of hate because this was obviously a marketing ploy. People are sick of it. So once again, it's, a way to get people to come into the store. Once again, show this shop, which has to make millions a year, they couldn't exist in Montecito, some love by sending them money. And now the shop is pulling a Meghan Markle. This has woken me up to the understanding the pain that Harry and Meghan must have felt, all the hate. Oh my God. Well, Little Miss pointed out that they could have donated 1,000 bikes at 100 each to needy children. Absolutely. So what are they doing? They're giving away one bike. I'm not impressed. Moving on. Everybody's talking about the Trooping the Color. Is Harry going to be there? Did he get an invite? Well, Neil Sean is saying that the whole family got an invite. But according to the news, no, they didn't. Because it probably would have been the same thing that the Queen did. They wouldn't have been allowed in the carriages. They wouldn't have been allowed on the balcony. It would have been the same thing where they would have been stuck to the side, peeking out of a window, rolling down windows to make sure somebody got a picture of them. So no, I know Neil Sean is reporting that they have not been, or they were invited. I don't believe they were. And to be fair, it wouldn't matter if they were invited because Meghan Markle would never get in one of those carriages. She'd be booed. She would never allow her children there. Yeah. No, I think they're done. All right. Next up, this really got me because, we've all heard Netflix has been canceled. Spotify has been canceled. Both sides of the family have been markled. Archewell has now come out. Now it's not a non-for-profit anymore. They really have no friends. Harry's court case is a joke. Yeah, it's all coming out. Now, while we're talking about Spotify, let's just take a quick look at what people are saying now. According to the news, the Spotify was paid $18 million. They gave them the money up front. So now that it's coming out or it's being reported that they're not doing any more podcasts, apparently Harry and Meghan get to keep the money. Which may be why the person who signed the contract is no longer with Spotify. I mean, guys, could you imagine? We all know that essentially she used the Spotify. It was supposed to be to elevate women's voices. But the truth is everybody that she had on her show was elevating her voice, not the other way around. They're also saying now that none of her podcasts reached the top 100. Now, remember, Spotify was claiming that the numbers, we knew they were hyperinflating the numbers to try to get people to tune in. But as you can see, it didn't work. People know real talent and not. And guys, they've already put everything out there with the Netflix and the tell-all memoirs and everything and the Cut magazine. They don't have anything else to discuss that anybody's going to want to listen to. And frankly, everybody's sick of their complaints. So, yeah. All right, moving on. Next up, okay, you guys, I told you I thought Harry took a private jet more than likely, but no, he took a commercial flight. First class, of course. But here's the thing. Who flies around with copies of their book in their baggage to give as gifts? Who does that? We know that they're having trouble getting rid of copies of the book. The numbers for his book, the final numbers haven't come out yet because what happens is when they can't sell them, they return them. So I still am waiting for the final numbers of how well this book actually did because, there's a ton of them still for sale. People can't get rid of them. And thank you to Kai Lear on Twitter for these absolutely fabulous photos. Moving on. All right, I just wanted to touch on this article because essentially what the article says is Harry suffers from what they call throne syndrome. So he uses all the royal privileges, but holds others responsible for allowing him to use the royal privileges because he has the freedom to be able to do that because he's not the heir. He can do things the heir can't. So basically, other people are responsible for his privileges. Yep. You know, this article came out and it really caught my attention because the person you have to feel the worst for is Chelsea Davy. And I agree. She has lived in anonymity for 12 years. She's gotten married. She's had a baby. She's done nothing for anybody to give her any attention other than a pre-pandemic interview with the Tatler, which was used to promote a business. She was very happy where she was. She said that she made a conscious choice in 2011. She wanted a different sort of life than the one she would have had with Harry. Now, this article claims that Meghan is a victim in a long line of women who suffered due to royal association. And it talks about how Catherine had 9 years of being chased by, the paparazzi. Meghan never had that. Meghan's not a victim. People are saying that we should just get used to Harry's arrogance because he no longer has a family. He's alienated himself from his own family. He's alienated himself from a father-in-law he's never met. He's essentially living in exile, but still tries to act like he's a member of the royal family. His entire life, and I agree with this article, his entire life is one long rant against past perceived injustices. He no longer knows who he is, where he is, who he wants to be, what he should be doing, and he's basically hitting the self-destruct button at every turn. I completely agree with this article. This court case is going to define him, and it will never end. He's just gonna keep going while insisting that everybody call him His Royal Highness. Yep. Oh my. All right, moving on. Harry is like being... Okay, so there are some wrestlers and they're having a bitter feud, and one of them basically kicked his twin in the face, costing him the United States Championship. And he said, Jimmy, that's his brother, Jimmy is a spare like Prince Harry is to the UK. He's just surplus to requirements. People are like, oh my God. Now, this Twitter user, I just want to say, they're saying that, Harry's comments that Charles is weak for not speaking out. I think the silence is golden is working pretty good because basically Harry's been hanging himself. As far as Harry's drug use and the visa thing goes, I am keeping an eye on that. I will let you know as soon as I have something. Now, one more thing came up on Twitter that just shocked me. And I have to assume that this came from a parody account. But then again, Harry's so stupid, it's possible. He apparently made the statement that his court case was to help all of the poor and needy and homeless people of the world who are chased by the paparazzi. Mine and Meg's life goal, he said, is devoted fully to the underprivileged who cannot afford to fight the paparazzi. So with that, Lewis Robinson said, thank you, Harry, because, Paps might have pursued me on my way to work. Oh, God. All right, we're going to finish up with Christopher Bouzy. You guys know I usually don't talk about him because in my opinion, he's, a waste of space. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed to Leilani Barbados, she's the one who said that she thought Christopher looked like a monkey. Go subscribe to her. Anyway, apparently he put up a tweet that he was going to be in an issue of some magazine called Wired. I've never heard of it before. The picture of him in the magazine was very unflattering. The suit was too tight. I'm surprised that since he was being interviewed, he didn't have final say. Maybe he did. I don't know. But anyway, this is a very illuminating article. I think he thought it was flattering. And then when people pointed out that it wasn't flattering, they tried to get them to issue corrections and make changes, and the magazine refused. And so now he's putting up tweets, trying to change whatever it was that was in the article. Anyway, I'm going to link the article in the description box. It is a rather long read, but very illuminating. You guys are going to want to read that. All right, you guys. Yes, again, I know that's a lot of information, but again, I want your comments. I'm reading them. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that bell. If you've already hit it, don't forget to double check, make sure you're still subscribed. In the description box, you'll find the link to the Wired article, as well as links to my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email, and my physical address. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund and through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.